There's a heaviness in the air right now. Not just in the news, not just online, but in your body and in your spirit. You can feel something isn't right. And then there's the flickering light phenomena, plane accidents left and right, wars erupting officially through countries, but also civilly between countrymen, and then those between citizens and non. Sowers of disorder and chaos aplenty. People that you love and trust. And of course, those you don't even know, believing things that make absolutely no sense, clinging to lies that they're lifelines. And as a result, everywhere you look, there's confusion, fatigue, anxiety, disorder, panic. Like the whole world is vibrating just a little too fast. Everybody, everything, everywhere feels off. If you've been feeling like you know all of this must be connected, well, you're correct. You're tuned in and sensing something very real, because this moment we're in, it's not just political or social or emotional. It's spiritual and electromagnetic, and part of a larger pattern. There are unseen forces intensifying all that we see and feel, from the sun above to the man-made frequencies that have been erected around us, and the bad actors that have been using this knowledge to sow further chaos. In this video, I'm going to briefly explain some of these forces, but most importantly, how we can stabilize ourselves in the storm and pay forward this peace and protection. Because once you see the pattern, you'll start to see the path forward. Knowledge is power, and the application of knowledge is what secures victory. 3-ish weeks ago, I was given a word I didn't even remember knowing. KAIROS. It means the opportune time for action, and inspired me to start to work on an outline for this video. Then on June 5th, I was reminded that sometime in 2020-21, I was made aware that we were aligned with the era of World War II. But at that time, I was worried that if I shared this, it would cause people to catastrophize. So I held the oracle. This June 6th marked 81 years since D-Day, the beginning of the end of World War II, the day when nations came together to extinguish the nefarious forces that sought to exterminate all outside of their own. Communist, Marxist galore, right? Does it sound familiar? And 81 years since D-Day, right? 81 is 9 times 9, a completed cycle of 1 through 9, 9 times. I've been holding this revelation since, waiting for the moment to speak it. And now I know this is it. This is KAIROS. We're all being called to this battle, like our ancestral heroes, and those of us awakened and able to feel this tremble and see it for what it is. Our portion is to erect the shield, keep it stable, and strengthen it by passing on the knowledge. So before I go any further, I need to put a little disclaimer out there, because this presentation may not have perfect flow. I just can't waste any more time preparing it. If I wait one more day, that's one less day humanity has this information and tool. And things are moving so fast that every day presents another relevant example. So has continued the delay of this release. Most things touched on here outside of how to erect the shield and more about it, I'll be addressing in its own separate video. there's a lot to go over. So right now we find ourselves in a bit of a paradox, a chicken egg moment. I've now told you about the alignment with World War II, but the sun has also been playing a major role in what has been going on. This year is one of solar max. It happens every 11 years and marks a time of hyperactivity. And solar storms are geo-electromagnetic, right? When the sun flares, it doesn't just radiate visible light, it releases enormous streams of charged particles and electromagnetic radiation. These outbursts interact with the Earth's magnetosphere, our planetary shield, and can trigger geomagnetic storms. These geomagnetic storms, they ripple through the Earth's energetic systems, often causing disruptions in communication, satellites, power grids, navigation systems, and flight. There you go. There's the reason for all of the plane incidents and the flickering lights. And these storms don't only affect our technology, but they affect us. Because you, like the Earth, are electrically alive, you know? Ever heard of the body electric? We too are electromagnetic beings. Our hearts, our brains, our cells all rely on delicate electrical signaling to function. Our nervous systems operate on bioelectric currents, and we're surrounded by our own electromagnetic field, sometimes called an aura, right? Which most have tucked away as spiritual mumbo jumbo, but it's real and interacts with the greater geomagnetic environment around us. The knee bone's connected to the thigh bone, right? It's all connected. So when the sun stirs, so do we. That heavy pressure in your chest, I know I've received it. Just last week, it was really intense. I felt what could only be described as how butterflies in your stomach feel, but in your chest. And it was completely random. I was out taking a walk with my husband. It was a lovely time. And then all of a sudden, I felt that come in, and I couldn't tie it to anything. And it didn't cause me to panic, but I did have to, consciously tell myself not to panic. And, it subsided, and I kept on with my evening. But a lot of us have been feeling that, or like that sudden feeling of anxiety or exhaustion, dizziness. And it seems like out of nowhere, that strange buzz in your ears. Oh my gosh, I've been getting that. Or feeling like your thoughts are very scattered and spinning. And I know a lot of us have suffered from that since COVID. And the reason for that being, if you ask me, has to do with the effects of that particular virus and the jab, but also the 5G that rolled out shortly before it. I mean, I don't believe in coincidence, right? Coincidence is a con. These aren't just in your head. They're very real physical and spiritual responses to an environmental shift. And even those moments outside of what can be pinned to electromagnetic hyperactivity, a lot are due to brain gut connection that is also responding to environmental aggressors. But, that's a topic for another video. This connection and presentation of the electromagnetic field is a demonstration of the fractal nature of creation. Because what happens in the macrocosm is mirrored in the microcosm. So like as above, so below, right? Within, without. And the sun and earth communicate in rhythms. loops and cycles, and we, the children of both dust, the earth, and breath, God, are woven into that same intelligent pattern. The turbulence above is reflected the turbulence within. The dissonance without reveals a need for harmony within. Now, here's where things get a little deeper, if you can believe it. Our atmosphere, more specifically our ozone layer and ionosphere, was designed to shield us from solar radiation and external energetic chaos. It diffuses harmful ultraviolet light, filters the intensity of these solar outbursts, and stabilizes delicate systems of weather and biological life. In that same way, your body and spirit were designed with their own atmospheric system. Your electromagnetic field, the one generated by your heart and your gut, supported by your breath and the minerals that are the physical building blocks, is your personal ozone layer. It's your buffer zone and your stabilizer. When it's strong, you're resilient and you're balanced. You're shielded against the storms, heaven and earth alike, you know. In earth, I refer to the man-made frequencies that we just spoke on, but also the negative energies coming, you know, from the haters. Because when that field weakens, our very real electromagnetic fields, through mineral depletion or deficiency, emotional stress, spiritual fragmentation, exposure to artificial frequencies, etc., that shield begins to tear like holes in the ozone layer, right? Just like the holes in the ozone layer allows ultraviolet radiation to burn the earth below, so too do spiritual and energetic breaches allow confusion, disease, emotional stability, etc. to flood our system. This is why the strengthening of the field, your field, is not optional right now. It's just not an option. This is something that needs to be focused on right here, right now. It's the assignment from creation itself. It doesn't matter what religion or spiritual practice or lack thereof you belong to. If you're seeking clarity, and even more if you feel a calling to quell this chaos, this is here for all of us, and also why you're still here listening to me. But before I break down the tool to make matters even more intense, we're not just experiencing the solar maximum that happens every 11 years. We are also in the midst of a planetary magnetic pole reversal. I know you've heard of it. People talking about the pole shifting. Well, Earth's magnetic poles are shifting, slowly but steadily. And while this isn't unprecedented in the history of Earth, it is unprecedented in our lifetime. And in combination with the solar storm cycles we're experiencing, it creates a highly volatile and deeply transformative energetic environment, which doesn't have to be negative. It's almost as if the Earth is trying to catch up to a new alignment, but hasn't yet found its stable point, you know? And I do have a theory on that. It's called hypernormalism. It was something put into place, I believe it was the 60s, to compensate for a world that the powers that be found to be a little more complicated than we thought. So they put these plays into place that started something called hypernormalism in order to prevent this crazy just a little longer. I mean, it was inevitable. So it does seem kind of selfish. Like maybe it was completely self-serving. Like the people that were in power at that time did not want to have to deal with the realization of a complex world and what that brings. So rather than helping us all out, they put the brakes on it and put into play just a bunch of things that went really awry. Without getting too far off, if I recall properly, the first thing that was put into place that kind of set off this whole hypernormalism was actually involving Syria, as we were supposed to help Syria in some type of way, and then just pulled the plug and, you know, gave no explanation. And then that sets the tone, right? And Syria has hated us since. Good job, guys. So what we have now is a kind of cosmic lag, right? The sun is flipping and surging with power while the Earth's magnetic field is weakened and wandering and not fully aligned. They set us, you know, all kinds of backwards. But so this means our planetary defense system is less able to deflect solar energy. Our biological systems are more exposed to energetic interference, and our mental, emotional, and spiritual is more easily distorted. And I know we can all feel that, right? It's like this crazy collective delusion and illusion has taken hold. And this, with this like dual force of like solar max and the pole shift, you know, creates one in a civilization moment. The KAIROS. We are living through something no one alive has seen before. A total atmospheric, energetic, and spiritual recalibration of Earth and its inhabitants. Doesn't it now make sense to you why we're seeing global conflict, political corruption, and invasion on just about every level? It's intense, but definitely not hopeless. Because just as this cosmic shakeup is unfolding, so is a cosmic invitation, an awakening. It's here for us. It's time to strengthen our shields, to reclaim our design and our lost inheritance, to become a living antenna of truth, love, and clarity, anchored in this storm for others to see. I know that one of the things that I pray for the most from God is I pray to be a beacon of God's light and love, so that when people see me, they see God's love. When people see me, they know God and they trust God. And with this, we can move forward. We can rise even while the earth is shaking. So we start this shielding process with literally what we're made of. So when they say you got everything you need, well, yes and no. But we do definitely have the blueprint. And that is the 12 cell salts, the biochemic mineral building blocks that every single living organism is formed from. I mean, plant, animal, everything. And these aren't supplements, right? They are truths, encoded into every blueprint of creation. Like literally every cell is made up of 1 to 12 of these minerals. Everything is a recipe using 1 to 12 of these ingredients. And Each cell salt is a mineral conductor. It's designed to create specific tissues and functions in the body, right? And most importantly, in this hour, what they can do for us is they'll regulate elimination, so purification, regeneration, which we desperately need, and then vibration. You know, they're not passive remedies, but like rather fuel for the miracle machine that is our human body. I mean, we are miracles. What has to happen for us to have a single second of life in our, I'm not talking after we're born, I'm talking about in our womb. For us to have a single second of life, all these things have to come together. And then for us to grow, my goodness, all the things that have to come, that have to happen in unison for us to have life. I just don't see any other way to look at it other than intelligent. Like, truly, truly. And out of all these minerals, the one that would be like the holder of the front line and is the first responder and the shield bearer is Ferrum Phosphoricum. So iron. It is our God-given suit of armor. From here on out, I'll be calling it Ferrum Phos. So Ferrum Phos is an oxygen carrier. It fuels your body with life force. It's the mineral that rushes to the site of injury, infection, or inflammation and begins repair. It's like the spark of your immune system and the shield of your energy body. It literally creates that shield. Because again, the energy body is very, very real. If the earth has an ozone, why don't we? We do. Everything is fractal. It's like a Russian nesting doll, right? It's like first you have the universe, and then you have a solar system, and then you have like the planets, right? And then you have, in our case, Earth, then the life of Earth, and then our cells, and all of these things share a design. When you feel dizzy, foggy, inflamed, feverish, weak, or you feel like you're under like psychic attack, Ferrum is the first call. And psychic attack is very important to know. It is not, again, it's not a mumbo jumbo type thing, right? When our energetic field is compromised, we're more susceptible to attack. One would say like, oh, they're more aware of it, right? Or it's happening at an intense level, right? Whenever they're going through that like evil eye period, right? But I wouldn't necessarily say so, because it may always be that great. However, if your energetic field is intact, you're just not noticing it. It's like these things come forward and they bounce right off. Also, oh my goodness, the energy that iron brings. You're like, I don't know, like it feels almost limitless, right? Like it adds more hours to your day. I am not exaggerating. When I first came to be made aware of this cell salt in particular, I was told, and when I say told, I mean guided, right? I was told something simple to build up my armor, right? And I was made aware of iron for that armor. So I just listened and I started taking it and I started hyperdosing it. And I mean, truly within a couple of weeks, I remember going out one night and dancing the whole night away, not stopping for a minute because I was winded or anything like that. And I also just remember being very, very happy and I felt like I was just in a good place. And again, it may not, It may be that, I had less haters around me, but also that may not be the case, right? It may just be that I had my field so intact and it was so strong that, all that haterade just bounced right off, right? Because these cell salts, clearly they're more than physical, they're metaphysical. Because they are of genuine creation. And everything of genuine creation, it bears its fingerprint. And so this applies to the body, mind, and spirit. This is part of the fingerprint. The 12 mineral cell salts are the 12 manner of fruits to heal the nations, the ones mentioned in Genesis. And the original sin is the inherent deficiency we're born with. Because sin in Latin, it means lack of or deficiency. And again, like all things of genuine creation, it bears the fingerprint, the Trinity, 3 levels of understanding, application, etc. So consider this the bodily portion of the body, mind, spirit of this story in Genesis. So ferrum phosphate, it strengthens your electromagnetic field by oxygenating and recharging the body, your internal conductor, right? Your blood is the river that carries not just nutrients, but information and memory and instruction, right? And a weakened field begins with weak blood, and a strong shield begins with strong blood, right? Fortified and flowing with ferrum, having the fuel it needs to operate the miracle machine miraculously. Okay? And this is why I'm urging everyone, especially those on the front lines of awareness, to begin with this shield protocol. It's simple and it's super accessible, and it is aligned with the design of creation. So here we go. Here's the protocol. Ferrum phosphate, right? You'll want to have it in its cell salt form, which is this. Is it, for instance? Okay. I think I got it. So this one is Jackson's, and I like this brands. I have more to suggest, but so ferrum phosphate in its cell salt form, you take it sublingually, which means that it goes directly into the bloodstream. So it's bypassing the delivery of the gut, which in the case of iron is essential. Iron and the GI are not friends. So when you get iron tablets from the pharmacy or the prescription ones, they suggest such strong doses because of this unfriendly union, right? So basically they pump you with so much because they're just trying to see whatever's gonna stick. That bioavailability is so low when it comes to iron and the gastrointestinal system. And not only that, it is very toxic to it. It tears it up. So I know a lot of you ladies out there, because gentlemen, us ladies are definitely prone to iron deficiency. I know a lot of you ladies give up on your iron supplements because of this gastrointestinal disorder pain, right? So it's like a lot of medicines this day and age. We're gonna try to fix this one thing, but if you end up with another thing, well, then I'm sorry. And then you're gonna have to take another pill to treat that other thing, and so on and so forth. So again, ferrum phosphate needs to be in its sublingual form. Okay? Cell salt, ferrum phosphate, sublingual. And then we have 2 different levels that I'll be discussing here. So we have the X state and the C state. So the X state of these minerals, so like the one I showed you was 6X, right? Or you can do a 30X. Don't worry, I'll be writing this down in the description. 6X, I would suggest for everybody. However, if you do have a known iron deficiency, then I would go for 30X. I would hyperdose that. 6 or 30X, everybody hyperdose. So we're trying to, get this in sufficient amounts and fast, right? And because these cell salts are part of our, building blocks, right? Part of all of our cells, they're hyper intelligent. They know what's supposed to be there and what's not. So if you take a little too much, it'll just dispose of itself. Dose, as we are trying to build up this shield, I would say to dose it between 5 to 6 times a day versus the 3 to 4 times it'll suggest on the package. And then to do that for 4 to 6 weeks. Then once 4 to 6 weeks passes, then we could take it up a notch and go to the C states. So the C states would be the mental, emotional portion of the dosing. Right? It definitely helps a little more with mental, emotional disorder. However, it should not be taken first because your body needs that mineral to be in place before it starts trying to just work with the code. Meaning, the X state cell salts, they have tangible portions of the mineral within it. Okay, so like it's like taking a literal supplement, not like it, but you know what I mean. So if you take a supplement, you're taking that supplement. When you get up into the C states, and this is the way that it works with homeopathy, is that it is an imprint of the function of that mineral. It's going to be a little difficult to explain, but I'm going to try my best. So you first take the body portion to make sure, the X state, to make sure that your body has all that it's need, and because most likely, and we all are, you're in a state of deficiency from that mineral. And then once you have that mineral built up, then you can rely on the C state, which is a little bit stronger in how it works. It's able to go down a little bit deeper. That's why it's able to target the mental, emotional well. Right. If you don't have that mineral in place, it gives your body the cues, like your mind does, right? To use the mineral appropriately. But if you don't have that mineral present, then you're going to send your body into some, it's not going to be pleasant, it's not going to do great harm, right? It's not like something that's going to take you out or anything. But if you start giving that signal when there's nothing to work with, then then it goes into a state of we're trying to work really hard to find that. Then you're going to have to deal with the side effects of that. And so we're talking about just kind of like how it would be if you tried to drive the car without gas, right? You just kind of be puttering along on fumes, and and then the car might break down a little bit. And I'm not saying again that it's will take you out, but it may put you in bed for a little bit because you're just so tired, because you're sending your body these signals to do these functions, and it doesn't have anything to work with. So it's really struggling to pull from whatever source of food you get it, and from the air, etc. I hope that makes sense. So again, the protocol: ferrum phosphate, 6X or 30X if you have a deficiency, 5 to 6 times a day for 4 to 6 weeks. And then from there, you can switch to the 30C, and you take that once a day. And then maybe, you know, somewhere down the line, you just take it like once a week or once a month, you know, just kind of when you feel like you need it, and then be on an X state maintenance. I love the 12-in-1s for that. So here's Jackson's again. And this is a 12-in-1, so it has all of the minerals at a 6X. Excellent. It is the only one I know of that does that. And then there's also bioplasma that is a 12-in-1. This is really fantastic, but I would say if you're in a state of deficiency, to definitely go with the Jacksons if you're going to do a 12-in-1, because all of them are a 6X, whereas this bioplasma, 9 of them are at a 3X, and then 3 of them are a 6X. This bioplasma is really great for those of you that want to give it to children, and it's safe to give to kids. I mean, like, I give it to my 1-year-old niece, completely safe. And I, you know, don't have enough testing with this at this time, but I truly believe that if we give our kids this, oh my gosh, we're setting them up to be the most complete individuals as they grow. We're giving them everything they need to, you know, operate their little miracle machine. I'm really excited to see how my baby niece excels in life. I'm really excited. Like I said, this is what they refer to as original sin, right? So that inherent lack of or deficiency. So if we give them to our babies, oh my goodness, they could just be complete individuals and not and just so well-rounded, and not have to suffer with the health disorders that start to add up as we age, which unless it is in your code and you were born with it, all of the things that we encounter health disorder wise could be prevented if we had all of the fuel our body needed to run properly. Like, truly. I plan on putting together, well, I'm in the midst of putting together an index here where you can like type in whatever is bothering you and get a protocol to treat this. But for maintenance, and especially, like I said, for children, oh my goodness, this bioplasma, this should be their daily vitamin. Hands down. I mean, we create superhumans with this. You know, of course, we need God as well. And I mean, God, this is something given to us by God. I truly am just so excited to see the generation that grows up taking this and the wonder and awe they will show us. So getting back to the protocol, there is your iron phosphate. You can get it, I showed you the Jacksons, but I also like Best Made, which is like this, right? And this actually comes from a pack of 12, so where you can have all 12 of the minerals at your disposal, so that they're there to treat. You think of them like first aid kit for the C states, also the X states. Uranus has been really good. That looks like this. I'm sorry, I can't get it to focus so well. As well as, what is this pronounced? Boiron? Yeah, Boiron. This one is French, but it can tend to be a little on the expensive side, you know, especially compared to the other ones. So I usually only get that one if I'm in a pinch. So again, Ferrum, right? 6 or 30x, 5 to 6 times a day, and that'll rebuild your shield. It's literally that simple. That simple. And then the action for that, right, is, building our electromagnetic shield, right, through oxygenation. Also, it's reducing inflammation, which a lot of us have a lot of that going on from the toxicity and the malnourishment, right? It reactivates clarity and, stamina galore, as well as intuitive strength, because when that electromagnetic field is intact, we are then a cathode. So think of it like up here, like it is a receptacle that is like just ready for everything beyond the veil that wants to come in, well, the good things, right? It's really great, and I feel super silly right now because I am not great in front of the video camera. So bear with me here too. And also, if you decide to take that 6X, you'll be getting 2 other minerals that are really great for this process. One being silica, and that's like the gatekeeper of our cells. It removes debris and carries instructions and reinforces like the structural activity of the cells, right? Also supports spiritual boundaries and psychic shielding, again, for those evil eyes. And another really cool thing about silica, they refer to it as the surgeon because it's hyper intelligent, being one of the building blocks. It knows what's supposed to be there and what's not. When it encounters something that's not supposed to be there, it literally sculpts it out. If you compress a diamond, or if you compress coal, you get a diamond. Well, if you compress silica, you get crystal quartz. So think of those edges on that crystal. No matter how much you pulverize silica, if you look at it under a microscope, it'll never cease to have its edges. So it's literal, the finest surgeon you can possibly think of. I have skincare clients that have, it's not odd actually because of the restorative work I do, adult women with polycystic ovary. So when they take this silica at a hyper dose, my goodness, within like a cycle or two, or their period, their menstrual cycle, they will purge literal cysts. Literal cysts will come out with their menstrual cycle when they're good with silica. Yeah. And then another one of those cell salts in that 6X. And of course you could purchase them separately, but if you're going to take 3 of them, why not take all of them, right? Because I'm certain that you have deficiencies in the other areas. Calsulf. Calsulf is the detox mineral. It clears infection and energetic residue, especially vital during times of internal or external toxicity. So a really great addition to all of that. And another one that's great for acne because it clears pus. And so topical application of that is awesome. Same thing with the silica. If you're familiar with Prid, that salve that you put on your skin for splinters, silica would be the main ingredient of that. So together, this trio, Ferrum, silica, and Calsulf, they kind of like work like a spiritual hazmat suit, and they restore, not suppress the body, because unfortunately a lot of the medicines that we take work in a way of suppressing something rather than restoring it, because these cell salts, they speak the divine language. They are of divinity. They bear the fingerprint. Once our field is stable, we activate others with our presence alone. Kind of like a tuning fork resets others to its frequency, right? A shielded soul resets the field around them. When enough of us are stable, like something truly extraordinary happens. There's like a tipping point. The moment when just 1% of the population operating in coherence and clarity can shift the whole collective field. Because think about it. 1%. Why do you think they use 1% so often? Why do you think they refer to them as themselves as the 1%? Because the media refers to them as the 1%, and the media is part of them, right? They know this. They know 1% coherence. It is not just science, you know? It is found in scripture. So this 1%, when they come together, they can shift the greater field, right? So it's like even a greater reason to share this protocol with everyone, right? Because the sooner we reach coherence, the sooner we stabilize this whole thing and we reclaim the 1% title. That is essential. And again, not a theory. The 1% coherence effect reveals a small number of awakened and aligned individuals can disarm chaos, dissolve the confusion, and pierce through the deception, not by force, but with frequency. So not by violence, right? Us that are not boots on ground, we do not do this with violence. We do this with vision. And us that have been feeling this heavy, heavy weight, we're not here just to carry it. We're here to transmute it. We're being trusted with the transmutation of it. And we're being trusted with educating others on it, with sharing it. And if you're a God-fearing person like I am, even better, right? Because this physical protocol combined with prayer and spiritual practice, it amplifies it. All God's children are being called to the forefront to work in harmony, because the enemy, they've clearly formed their coalition, right? We've seen it. Lies upon lies upon lies, politricks on politricks, globalists for globalists. They're awful. And they are seeking something truly, truly nefarious. That's for another video, but it is going to blow your mind. Truly. What they are seeking is a bringing about of the Ancient of Days. And I'm not going to get too far into that because it's just, I don't even know how to do it simply, but it is bad. It is gross. We don't want any part of it. So we need to come together and take this shit down. I'm not going to, I'm sorry for those of you that are against cussing, but damn, it is serious and it is gross. So anyway, their coalition, I'm praying that it'll all fall apart soon, or they'll start eating themselves as like true demons do, right? When they've grown to a certain size and they can no longer be fulfilled by the like smaller prey. But we certainly can't rely on that. We need to be a united front. All these things they've put out there to divide us and attempt to conquer us, so small. These differences are minutia in the grand scheme of things. And though we may not all have all the answers, what I presented here today is it's a God-given tool, a shield from the chaos, and a sword that doesn't cut but is powerful nonetheless. Truly, it is a start. So please, please, please share, like, subscribe. Let's get this out to everyone. I've also got a lot more outlines fleshed out. And of course, I'll get better, right? With the delivery and with the presentation. But again, it just couldn't wait. I've been every day I've been shown one more thing to add to it. And 3 weeks later, There's just no more time. There's no more time for delay. It needs to get done here and now. All of it. Let's create a collective united under divine intelligence. That's it. This is all divinely created. All with the fingerprint. All intelligent. Because it doesn't matter what religion you believe in. These are undisputable facts and a flag under which we can all unite. All of us God's children whose hearts have been tested. You know, all of us here for good and for civility. All of us that are just deeply desiring that, you know, we could go back to a time where where these things didn't need to be spoken, or, you know, we didn't need to speak on them. They just were, and they were just abided by. They were honored. It just seems so crazy. We've gotten so far. And we've gotten far because we've went humble to a fault. Those creeps, they've used our compassion against us. They've used our compassion to silence us, to weaken us, and to put us in a corner. And now, oh my goodness, I feel so bad for the people in the UK. To any of my UK brothers and sisters out there, I send you prayers, I send you love, and I ask for God to keep you protected and to give you strength. I can't believe what they're doing to you out there, how you're being silenced. It makes no sense. But it is also, for us in America, it is a powerful lesson. This is what happens. This is what happens when you hand the keys to society over to people who don't value it and don't care for it, right? They have no connection to it. They have no allegiance to it. Their ancestors didn't build it, and that's one thing I think we all, you know, kind of suffer from a little, and I think UK is getting a powerful lesson in, is that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Lots of sacrifices needed to be made to give us the comforts that we have today, because in Western civilization, even the poorest of us is living in luxury compared to their, you know, ancestors or to those in third world nations. And this needs to be honored, and it needs to be protected. And we need to unite, all of us like-minded, God-fearing individuals. We need to unite under this banner, like truly one nation under divine creation, one nation under God and indivisible. So thank you for taking the time to hear me out and to be with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts and personal revelations. Anyway, this message has synced up to your beliefs or to what you've been receiving. Do you think that the nefarious ones, have been operating with the knowledge of what's going on in the cosmos and wielding it for their evil purposes? Do you think the solar activity outside of the cyclical is a result of the man-made chaos? We got some work to do, guys. But I have faith in us. Lots of love to you. I hope to see you with some more videos soon, and to see you in the comments. God bless. And I hope this provides a seed or 3 from which you can grow. Take care.